Hello everyone and welcome to another Hallyu Sees It review. Today I am reviewing Aqua Set Collection Game of Art. This is a game for 2 players, ages 10 and up, and takes 15 minutes to play. This is a game designed by Tate Wu, and the art is also done by this individual. The art is fantastic. We'll get into more of that as I talk about my thoughts on the game itself. But fantastic art. The publisher is Sunrise Tornado, and I was provided a copy of this game for review by Flat River Publishing Group for an honest review of the game. So thanks for joining me, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And let's get right into it. Number one, I think one of the things that I really like about it is its portability. So the game itself just all fits in this little card deck box. So very portable. It doesn't take up a lot of table space. You can see here, there's one more card down there. But this is the amount of table space you need. So it's really pretty compact on the table itself. And yeah, the artwork. So let's talk about the artwork. The artwork is really, really amazing. So everything is, based around water, the ocean. You have some boat cards here, as well as different. So there's different themes here. There's turtle cards. It's one of my favorite ones. We also have this one over here, the baby sea turtle. Just really, really cool artwork. Got a couple of the ships here. So just really, really pretty. There are some lily pad cards. So just some really great artwork here. The wave cards here. This one has a lighthouse in it, one of my favorites. Very, very pretty. So the aesthetic of it is fantastic. As far as the component quality, there are some plain white cubes here. They call those visitors. With the boat cards, you're able to, if they're played face up, you get to move a cube up to 3 spaces away, basically getting bonus points when that card scores. And then your opponent also gets to move a cube from that. So very functional there, nothing there. I mean, the main part of the game is the cards. Again, the artwork and the backs of the cards I really like. As far as the card quality themselves, they are okay. Good to okay quality. Not an amazing, linen finish or anything like that, but very functional. And I think they'll hold up okay over time. There are some score reference cards, as well as keeping track who is who. So in this, it is only a 2-player game, and someone's going to be the column player, and someone will be the row player. And you're basically the row player will score points according to how the cards lay out in that row, and the column player will score points for the cards in the columns. Yeah, so that's kind of the gist of there. Let's talk about the rules set a little bit. There's actually the rule set here folds out. It's not my favorite, format for rules, these little fold-out papers, but it keeps it portable and very readable as far as the rules. So I think it works great. And I think it's actually laid out fairly well here. Though there was one question, again, there's some pictures and everything that shows examples, and so I think that's all great. Apparently there was a Kickstarter version of this as well with some exclusive things. This is just the retail version, so I don't have any of those to show you. But yeah, the rules are actually really good. The there is a whole nother set here showing very nice that it's large so you can see it, scoring example for how to score the game. So I thought that was really good. The only distinction here is that that's very important, and I've sought some clarification. Once I get that from the designer or the publisher, I will post that in the comments to this video so you can check that out. Question here is, so at the very end of the game, you score your, columns if you're the column player, or rows if you're the row player, only if the numbers in that row or column add up to between, the rules say between 10 and 20. And my only seeking clarification is, does that include 10 and 20? Because when I read between 10 and 20, I'm thinking 11 through 19 score. But it kind of makes sense to me that also that just 10, all the way through 20 score. So trying to clarify that as that came up actually in this last game that I played, and I'll show you as an example. So anyway, just a little point of clarification. I thought it would have been nice if they would have included that in this scoring example of something being at 10 or 20, and it would make it really clear. So just a slight improvement on that. But let's talk about the actual gameplay of the game. So you have these set of cards here. Again, there are lily pad cards, wave cards, turtle cards, and you have varying numbers here. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And what you're really trying to do is come up with different sets. So it's nice, these little cards here show you what you're trying to achieve. Again, there's that distinction of score columns with the total card value between 10 and 20. And so what you do is if you have 2 waves in that, you're going to get 2 points. If you have 3 wave cards in that row or column, you would get 3 points. But you have to have that between 10 and 20. So for example, for this column player here, this is a 5. So 5 and 6 is 11, and 3 is 14, and 6 is 20. So the question here is would we score this? Again, if you would include 20, you would be looking, do I have the same, are there multiple wave cards? No. Are there multiple lily pad cards? No. Boats? No. Turtles are scored separately. We're not going for sets with those. We'll talk about those in a second. Are there multiple of the same number? Yes, we have 2 6s here. If we were able to score this, then we would get, hey, there's 2 6s, so we'd get 2 points. Because there's a visitor token on here, and we'll talk about how those come out with these boats again in a moment, it gets a bonus. Every single time it's scored, it gets an additional point. So that would get us 1 additional point. So we would get 3 points for this column. We go on to this one here, and this one was actually set up. They were really trying to get hard to score this turtle. Turtles score by having wave cards adjacent to them. So as the column player, I need them above and below. So that's why this turtle did not score for me. There is a wave card next to it. However, this would score for the row player because it is above or below it in that row, right? Whereas I don't have a wave card here or here. Because I have 2 wave cards, this could score 5 victory points. But what happened here, again, there's 1 more card here. Unfortunately, this was going to be a big scoring column for them, but it did not go quite as planned, because what ended up happening, you have 7 and 5, is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18, plus 3 more is 21. So this would actually not score as far as the set collection. The sets and the sea turtles don't score for this column. All right. And so there is a lily pad bonus that also scores. We'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, you just go around. So this one here, the column player, again, would score. There's 2 lily pads, so they would get 2 points. Because there's a visitor on this card, when it's scoring, it will get an additional point. So they're going to get 3 points for this column. This column here, even though it falls within that 10 to 20, there are no sets here. The turtle card does not have any wave cards above or below it, so that would not score, and so forth. So that's kind of the main scoring. Then you have a lily pad bonus, and it basically, you go through and you have, you're going to look for basically lily pads, columns that have lily pads consistently. So you start here, there's no lily, you got one lily pad, lily pad, lily pad, lily pad, lily pad. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they would get 8 points. And it does max out at that. So I don't think you would necessarily see more than that. So they do get 8 points for that. Unfortunately, they didn't score quite a few of their columns or get many points from the ones that they did. In this game, the row player did extremely well. So I'll show a little bit more on that. So the row player, again, they did really extremely well, especially with this row right here. This is somewhat out of the shot here, but this is a 2 lily pad. And looking at this row, first of all, we would double check and make sure we have, adds up to 10, 13, 16, 18, so it would score. And it has quite a few points here. So we have 2 3s, that was going to give us 2 points. There's 2 5s, that's another 2 points. Because this visitor, you would actually get a bonus for that other one, right? So that's actually 3 points plus 2 points. That's another additional 5. So we're at 5 points. We look at the lily pads. So that's an additional 2 plus the bonus, which can count multiple scorings there. So now we're at 8 points for that. Then we have 2 boats, which is an additional 2 points. So that's 10 points for this one row for them, which is quite significant. So again, very rough look at some of the scoring and objective of the game itself. How do you actually play the game here? So what actually happens is when you flip over a card, so you actually, let me just show you. So that was kind of the end. We'll go backwards a little bit here and gather these up. Show you the artwork of the card that was face down. Really cool. This is Crimson Dusk. So very, very simple. There is just these set of cards each time. So game setup is very quick. You're just going to shuffle these up. And depending on what card comes up, you flip a card up. If it is even, you are going to set a card face down from the top to the next to the card. I can't remember if it's left or right or if it dictates that, but don't think it matters too much. But we have that happen. Then basically the column player would go first. Each person's going to get 3 cards to play the game with or start with. We'll have a draw deck there. Let's see if this is that's even as well. All I have is even. So if the first card was odd, you would actually place that first top card underneath it, and the row player would go. And from that, you're going to, based on your 3 cards here, choose a card to play. If you choose to play a card next to, it has to go adjacent to other cards in the on the table. And if you place it next to, in one of these 3 spots, it has to go face down. So nothing's really going to happen. It's a little bit of a memory game here, and maybe push your luck or some unknown elements here, right? For the other individual. You know what this is. Hopefully you remember what that is, but you play it face down. If you are playing it and it is next to a face down card, it will be played face up. This is very important because only face-up cards will score at the end of the game. These cards can be turned face-up, however. Whenever you play a card, you're simply going to draw a new one to replace that, and then the other player will take their turn. As the game continues on, what happens if you actually surround one of the face-down cards is that you are going to flip that face up. So I would place this here. This would immediately flip over. And now they have 2 6s going here and 2 lily pad cards. So worked out for this player so far. And draw a card. You keep playing. Once the draw pile runs out, you simply don't draw any more cards. You continue to play until you've played all of the cards onto the table. As you saw in my example, all of the cards were face up except for 1. And at the end of the game, really, you may have that situation where really the card, if everything's mostly face up, then you're not going to be able to play it so that it really changes anything. It's basically a dead card, but it could end up flipping other cards over if you had one, that was almost surrounded and you wanted to flip that last one over, things like that. So there's a lot of strategy behind where the cards go based on you're looking for maximizing, again, your points in your column or row, whichever player you are, and trying to minimize the points in the other for the other player. The really kind of where a lot of the strategy comes in and the challenge is the numbers and making sure that your numbers lie between 10 and 20. For that to score. Again, you could have, with just 2 cards, have that row or column score. You may have 3 cards like this one here, and it's still not scoring. So you have to really kind of balance that out. And you can kind of put those face down cards as, hey, I want this card in that row or column. I want it to score. You may put that there so that it actually basically makes them bust for that row or column, right? Where it puts them over the 20, and so they don't get any of those set points for that. So it really is kind of a very interesting puzzly game. So I like that. I like that a lot. I like these puzzly type games. It's very simple and straightforward. I think there is a lot of replayability as far as when the cards come out, and with those cards being face down, there is some luck of, hey, what 3 cards are you going to have to start the game with, and what are you going to draw from that draw deck? It is fairly, small and compact. There's not that many cards, right? So it is possible, I think, over time that this someone may, if you played a lot or something like that, you could get there and it may feel very similar when you play. It would be nice to possibly have some different scoring options or asymmetrical scoring where, maybe the row player gets certain bonuses and versus the column player. But I like the simplicity of this. I think it's a fun little game for 2 players, and fantastic artwork. And yeah, I think it's a great little game, travels well. And yeah, that is Aqua. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. And again, I will get some clarification on that scoring and put that in the comments and description as well. So thanks again for watching. And if you wouldn't mind, consider subscribing to the channel as well. And that is how Lou sees it.